Well, the National Convention of the All Progressives Congress is currently winding down after a hectic 24 hours characterized by heightened politicking, horse trading, and every other thing that has become a feature of the recent history of Nigerian politics, while consensus was the word at a point during the proceedings, but with various stakeholders in the party persistently pushing for increased democratization of the process, consensus gradually gave way to regular polling, leading to an extension of the process. However, the choice of national chairman proved to be the exception, with President Muhammadu Buhari overseeing the coronation of his consensus candidate, former governor of Nasarawa State, Senator Abdullahi Adamu. Where does this decision leave the chances of APC during next year's election? For this and a lot more, we're now being joined by KAYODE Ojo, an engineer, industrialist, philanthropist, politician, and chieftain of the All Progressives Congress and a governorship aspirant in Ekiti State. Good morning, Kayode. Welcome to the morning show, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good morning, and thanks for having me.
Right. Kayode, you attended the National Convention of the All Progressives Congress. How would you analyze the consensus adoption for the chairmanship position to be given to former governor of Nasarawa State, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, as a new national chairman of the party? Would you say that the APC has put its house in order? And would you say that the decision at the convention will position the APC for next year's general election in a good light? How would it position the APC at this point?
Well, I would say the president showed some leadership. I would have expected it to have come earlier in meeting all the candidates who were vying for the position of the chairmanship. At the end of the day, he had a meeting with them, and he didn't want a kind of rancorous convention, and they narrowed down to H.E. Adamu. You know, I think that is maturity, and was a good step by the president to make sure that we have a kind of convention that is free from rancor. So that's good.
All right, Mr. Ojo, let me take it from there. I assume that you are of the ACN stock of your party, APC. Are you worried in any way that the PDP stock within the party seems to be taking over the reins of affairs of APC? You have, a former governor of Nasarawa who was governor for 8 years under PDP and who later was the secretary of the BOT of PDP, now assuming leadership in the consensus arrangement, of the APC. You also have as the secretary that has just been, elected, former deputy governor of Osun State, Iyola Omishore, who, as you know, left AD at that time for PDP. And if you recall, the language in which his former principal, Chief Bisi Akonde, used in describing him are not flattery at all. I mean, he practically accused him of horrendous conduct when they were in office. This is the same person that you have now chosen as the secretary of your party. Are you worried that other tendencies are taking over the party, given the fact that the legacy parties that came together were ACN, CPC, and ANPP before the new PDP and the faction of ABGA came to join them? Are you satisfied with the sort of people that you now have at the helms of affairs of your party?
Well, I will tell you, yes, I'm satisfied, and this is why. The number one thing is that when people come together to form like a union, you are no longer a fragment of the previous union that you were before you come together. So as long as you're a card-carrying member of APC, you've ceased to be a member of your former party or whatever association you were before. So these people are bona fide members of APC. So therefore, they're eminently qualified, to vie for the office and to be either voted for or chosen by the people that you were a member of. So I don't have any problem with these people, and there's nobody that doesn't have a past. So past is past, this is present. So we need all to sit down, come together, and then move the party forward so that this party can continue to lead the country, and then they can also come in and institute a great reform into the internal democracy of the party, which is presently lacking in all ramifications. So I believe that this caliber of men that are on board now will be able to do justice and move this party forward.
All right, Mr. Ojo, now in examining the outcomes of the now concluded convention, could we confidently say that some really cogent issues have been addressed? And to what extent will these ramifications impact the future in terms of the upcoming general elections?
Well, number one, like I've just mentioned to you now, the most important thing for this NWC is to look critically at the internal democracy in the party, which is key, that needs to be resolved. If that is resolved, if that is arranged properly, then we'll have a beautiful and bright chance of continuing to lead the country, to win massively across the country, and also win the presidential election that is coming next year. So I am quite optimistic that this team is made of people that are experienced and they've been around for a while. They will not be easy pushed around by some governors and likes like that. So I believe that APC actually got it right this time around.
All right, Mr. Ojo, let me ask a further question, and that's to say that will you consider this to be the main takeaway from what happened last night and overnight as to the preference and the body language of the president? It was clear, at least in the last few weeks, that he wanted former Governor Adamu to be the chair, and consensus was on everybody's lips. The president clearly, got his way. Is that the shape of things to come, given the fact that in about a month or two, your party, like all the rest, will be choosing their candidates for next year's general election? Are we to expect that the president will again, come to the front and take leadership position in saying that this is the direction that I think that the party, should be going? I mean, will consensus be a factor when that will happen? And importantly, one of the things that the president said in his speech last night was that the new executive must make sure that the party does not give its ticket to the highest bidders. Do you think that there was a veiled reference to anybody in what the president was saying or trying to say last night?
No. I disagree with that. I think what the president was trying to say is very simple. He was trying to say that, look, we need internal democracy in this party. That you must make sure that you put in a mechanism in place whereby the strong, the weak, the okay will be able to vie for position, and then it will be the choice of the people, that the people will come through in selecting who's going to be their candidate. I believe that's what the president was trying to communicate with the party members, without referring to anyone. And I believe that the most important legacy that President Buhari is going to leave, and he must leave for not only APC for Nigeria, is the internal democracy in all these parties. Because the way it is structured right now is terrible, I can tell you. Some few people just sit down and write a list or say they want to do something or they want to take over. But I believe that the president want the party sanitized. That's why he went for leadership that he can trust, and he met with all the other gladiators and appealed to them to say, hey guys, let's work this out. Because we have always actually worked out, the national leadership of the party has always been chosen by consensus. I mean, from what I know, from Chief Bisi Akonde to A.G. Oyegun to H.E. Oshomole, and up until now. So I believe that that's why he told that lie. But in the general elections, that is coming, definitely there's going to be primaries. There are so many people that are interested in various offices. And at that point, I believe there will be primaries. But what is now important is for this NWC to lay down procedures and programs that's going to ensure that all these primaries are free, fair, and credible. I went through a primary in Ekiti State recently. The result was written a day before the primary. So those kind of criminal activities needs to be stopped. So this NWC needs to look at that and revisit even some of the activities of the these outgone CC, whatever they call themselves, you know, to focus on doing the right thing and correcting all the mistakes that they've made. And then let's take this party, let's make it a real democratic party whereby everybody's got a fair chance at whatever you want to do.
Well, you just mentioned that you contested, you know, for the office of the governorship in Ekiti State, and the results were written a day before. You know, you have personally claimed that there's been massive rigging during that election. Now, can you share with us what evidence you have, and would you be contesting again?
No, I mean, I'm still contesting because I can't share any evidence with you now because we're in court. We're challenging the fraud in court. So, I mean, I don't know what English they use for that, so I cannot start discussing evidence on TV because we're already in court. So, as of today, APC does not have a candidate in Ekiti State. So the court will decide who the candidate is. And I know that, God willing, the court will give us the necessary victory that we had on the ground that was subverted, temporarily subverted. So we have plenty of evidences which I cannot start revealing on national TV.
But what's your prayer? What's your prayer to the court? I cannot recall that you came second to the former secretary to the state government, you know, who emerged as the candidate of the APC. So I'm wondering if you say that there's no candidate for APC at this time, does that mean that if he is removed by the court, in the unlikely event that he's removed by the court, are you going to be the person that the court will choose? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, that's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you, because on the ground, everybody came out to vote for us on that day. And it is a known fact by the people, and even the people that came out there to say, conduct the election. But they choose to do what they want to do because, of course, I'm not a member of the Governors Forum, so I don't have a voice. And the Governors Forum, you know, decide all these things in the last few election cycles. But we have to move to a stage whereby people do the right thing, whereby we allow the people to choose the leaders that they want. And we don't go for leaders, people who are appointed leaders. You must be people that have already, over the years, been looking forward to be leaders, and they've planned all these things all their life, and there are plans and programs they want to execute to better the life of the people. And that's where I stand. We have to do these things differently. We have to change the status quo. We must build this country. And we can only build this country when we have a democracy, real democracy, whereby people are allowed to choose who they want to lead them, not somebody just bringing somebody from the closet who's not even ready for any kind of offices. So that's why we have all this problem over the years, that you see lack of development everywhere. There's no pipe-borne water. We have challenge with electricity. We have challenge with even basic infrastructure in this country. God loves this country so much. He gave us all the things we need. We just need to come together. We need to do the right thing and put the right leadership there and then get this country working. And this country can work, and it will work by God's grace.
All right, Sturgeon. Of course, we've dwelled on this topic of the recent elections that you've pretty much claimed was fraudulently conducted. But let's zoom in a little bit and let's talk about Ekiti State, where your interest lies. This is a state that is ranked quite abysmally when it comes to revenue generation, particularly because it's got like such a heavy reliance on federal allocation. There are also bigger issues like a very high rate, really, really high rate of youth unemployment. What would you say are some of the stumbling blocks to addressing these issues, and how would you change the face of that in relation with the current dispensation?
Well, you are very correct. Ekiti State is a state that relies massively on the federal allocation from Abuja every month. And as you're aware, due to the debt servicing profile of the country, the revenue that accrues to the state every month is dwindling. It's coming down. So And over the years, we have been in this same situation whereby we continue to sit and wait, for this stipend from Abuja. But the number one factor to change that is that we have to look at all the things that we have, all our God-given resources, which is the manpower, the people that we have, invest in them, train them, create industrial clusters. But before you can do this, you first need to find money. And that is the problem of Ekiti State. We don't have the money. So and how do you find the money? First, you need a master plan to plan for all the development that is going to also, have a trickle-down effect on the economy. Well, luckily, the present government have done some master plan. I haven't seen it. But that master plan has to be juxtaposed with the accompanying cash and the funding to be able to build the industry, build different parks, leverage on our tourism potential, agricultural potential, so that we can bring in the private sector, private people into the state to drive all of this.
Well,
and then from there, the trickle-down effect.
Well, all right. Unfortunately, that's all we can take from you, Kayode, and I wish you luck if you run again.